Every single morning you wake up, whether you realize it or not, you are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to growth, discipline, and a life that you consciously build with intention. The other path leads to repetition, distraction, and a slow drift into mediocrity. The difference between these two paths is not talent, luck, or even opportunity. It is the decision you make in those first moments after you open your eyes. Most people wake up and immediately surrender control. They reach for their phone, scroll through other people's lives, absorb noise, negativity, and distractions before they have even taken control of their own thoughts. And then they wonder why their day feels scattered, why their energy is low, why they feel behind before the day has even begun. But you are not most people. The moment you decide to take ownership of your morning, you shift something fundamental inside yourself. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You begin to understand that how you start your morning is not just a routine, it is a declaration. It is you telling yourself who you are going to be today. Are you going to be focused or distracted, disciplined or lazy, intentional or careless? Because the truth is, your mind in the morning is incredibly powerful. It is fresh, it is impressionable, and it is waiting for direction. If you fill it with purpose, clarity, and strength, it will carry that energy throughout the day. But if you fill it with chaos, comparison, and passivity, that will follow you as well. The world does not decide your mindset. You do, and that is both a responsibility and a privilege. You have the ability, right now, to take control. To say that today will not be wasted. That today will not be another repeat of yesterday. That today you will show up differently. Not perfectly, but intentionally. And that intention compounds. It builds momentum. It creates a version of you that is stronger, sharper, and more resilient than the one that existed yesterday. You don't need to change your entire life in one morning. You just need to win the first hour. Because when you win the morning, you set the tone for everything that follows. Your focus improves, your confidence grows, and your actions begin to align with your goals. This is not about motivation. This is about control. It is about discipline. It is about making a decision that you are done living on autopilot. That you are done letting your environment dictate your behavior. That you are ready to step into a higher standard for yourself. Because deep down, you already know what you are capable of. You have felt it before in moments of clarity, in moments of focus, in moments where everything just clicks. That version of you is real, but it does not appear by accident. It is built through consistent choices, especially in the morning when your guard is down. So take control. Sit up, breathe, think, decide. Who are you going to be today? Because the answer to that question will shape everything that follows. Discipline is often misunderstood as something harsh, restrictive, or exhausting. But in reality, discipline is freedom. It is the ability to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel in the moment. And that is where most people struggle. They wait for motivation, for inspiration, for the perfect mood to strike before they take action. But that moment rarely comes, and even when it does not last. Feelings are temporary. They fluctuate constantly. If your actions are tied to your emotions, your progress will always be inconsistent. That is why discipline matters. Discipline removes the need to feel ready. It removes the debate in your mind. It turns action into a standard rather than a choice. And once something becomes your standard, it becomes part of your identity. You no longer ask yourself whether you should do it. You simply do it because that is who you are. But reaching that point requires a shift in how you think. You have to stop negotiating with yourself. You have to stop giving yourself easy exits, excuses, and reasons to delay. Every time you say, "I'll do it later," you are reinforcing a habit of avoidance. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you are training your mind to settle. And that is how people stay stuck. Not because they lack ability, but because they lack consistency. The truth is, success is not built on massive, dramatic actions. It is built on small, repeated behaviors. Waking up early, staying focused, finishing what you start. Doing the work even when it feels boring, even when no one is watching. Especially when no one is watching. Because that is where your character is built. That is where your standards are defined. You have to understand that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to push you every day. You are responsible for your own growth. That may sound harsh, but it is actually empowering. It means your progress is in your control. And once you accept that responsibility fully, everything changes. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop comparing yourself to others. You stop waiting for the perfect time. And you start acting. You start building. You start moving forward regardless of obstacles. And yes, there will be obstacles. There will be days when you feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. But those are the days that matter the most. Because anyone can perform when they feel good. Anyone can take action when it is easy. But growth happens when you show up despite resistance. When you push through discomfort. That is what separates people who talk about change from people who actually create it. So stop waiting. Stop overthinking. Stop hesitating. You already know what needs to be done. The question is not whether you are capable. The question is whether you are willing to commit. Commitment is not a one-time decision. It is something you prove through your actions every single day. Fear and doubt are powerful forces that hold people back because of how real they feel in your mind. They whisper questions. What if you fail? What if you are not good enough? What if people judge you? Without realizing it, you begin to shrink your ambitions to fit inside those fears. You play it safe. But here is the truth. Fear does not disappear when you wait. It grows. Confidence is not something you are born with. It is built through action. Through doing things that are uncomfortable. You have to move first. You have to step into situations where you are unsure, where you might fail. The biggest mistake is waiting until you feel ready. There will always be some level of uncertainty. That is what makes progress meaningful. If everything was guaranteed, it would not require courage. And without courage, there is no transformation. You have to understand that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of it. Every mistake you make, every setback you experience, every time something does not go as planned, you are learning. You are adapting. You are getting closer to the version of yourself that can handle greater challenges. But only if you keep going. Only if you refuse to let those moments define you. Because failure only becomes permanent when you stop trying. Until then, it is just feedback. It is just a step in the process. And the people you admire, the ones who seem confident, successful, and in control, they have faced more fear, more doubt, and more failure than most. The difference is, they did not let it stop them. They kept moving forward. They kept pushing. They kept believing in something beyond their current situation. And you can do the same. You are not limited by your past. You are not defined by your current circumstances. The only real limit is the one you accept in your mind. So challenge it, question it, push against it. Because on the other side of that fear is growth. On the other side of that doubt is confidence. And on the other side of that hesitation is the life you keep telling yourself you want. At the end of the day, everything comes down to consistency. Not intensity, not short bursts of effort, not moments of inspiration, but consistent, repeated action over time. That is what builds anything meaningful. That is what transforms potential into reality. And this is where most people fall short, not because they are incapable, but because they underestimate the power of small, daily actions. They want immediate results. They want visible progress right away. And when they do not see it, they lose motivation. They stop. They switch directions. They start over again and again without ever giving something enough time to grow. But real progress is often invisible at first. It happens beneath the surface. It builds slowly, quietly, without recognition. And then one day, it becomes undeniable. But you have to be patient. You have to trust the process even when you cannot see the results yet. Because consistency compounds. Every effort you make, every action you take, every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are building something. You are strengthening your habits. You are reinforcing your identity. You are becoming the type of person who follows through. And that matters more than any single result. Because once you become consistent, results are inevitable. You cannot stop someone who refuses to quit. You cannot outwork someone who shows up every single day. That is the level you need to aim for. Not perfection, but persistence. Not intensity, but endurance. You have to think long term. Where do you want to be in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And more importantly, who do you need to become to get there? Because your future is not built by your goals alone. It is built by your daily habits. By what you do consistently, not occasionally. So align your actions with your vision. Make decisions that your future self will thank you for. And understand that every day matters. Every choice matters. Even the small ones. Especially the small ones. Because they add up. They shape your direction. They determine your trajectory. And if you stay consistent, if you stay focused, if you keep moving forward, no matter how slow it feels, you will get there. It is not a matter of if. It is a matter of when. But only if you do not quit. Only if you stay committed when it is difficult, when it is boring, when it feels like nothing is changing. Because that is the test. That is where most people give up. And that is why most people never reach their full potential. But you can. You just have to decide that you will not stop, that you will not settle, that you will keep going no matter what.